Hello, you are watching MMA Fight Universe channel. Subscribe to the channel to follow all the important news of the fighting world. In today's weekly recap, we have the conflict between Khamzat Chimaev and Khabib's team continues. Tyson Fury is upset that Mike Tyson will be in Francis Ngannou's corner. Dana White has revealed the details about the UFC and WWE crossover. Logan Paul has crossed the line in trash talk with Dillon. Denis. Dricius du Plessis criticizes Dana White's decision. Daniel Cormier's tall tricks case lives on. The three best and unknown knockouts of last week and the future of Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso after the rematch that ended in a controversial draw. The internet battle between Paulo Costa and Khamzat Chimaev is continuing. They are set to face off in the co-main event of UFC 294's pay-per-view spectacle. At the top of the pay-per-view card in Abu Dhabi, fans eagerly anticipate the lightweight championship clash between Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev. An amusing twist occurred when Chimaev offered a comical response to a recent social media post by Paulo Costa, who is presently training in Khabib's gym in the UAE. Chimaev screenshotted the Instagram post and recaptioned it.
Khabib gym, mashallah, my Muslim brother help everybody. Ask him to help you, maybe he'll help you, but still gonna smash you, Pavlovich.
While Khamzat's recent post may appear innocent on the surface, it could potentially carry a deeper meaning given the history of conflicts between their teams. Khamzat's deliberate misspelling of the name in the post could even be interpreted as a subtle jab at Khabib. Regardless, it's evident that Khamzat is not pleased with the apparent connection between Costa and Khabib. As we approach the actual fight, it becomes increasingly intriguing, and we may witness the Khabib versus Chimaev conflict evolving further. Following UFC 280, tensions between Khamzat Chimaev and Abubakar Nurmagomedov reached a boiling point, leading to an altercation that required security personnel to intervene and de-escalate the situation. The exact trigger for this conflict remains somewhat mysterious, but it was speculated to be linked to a deleted Instagram post by Abubakar Nurmagomedov in 2021. In that post, Nurmagomedov openly criticized Chimaev for making comments about Khabib Nurmagomedov. It's important to note that controversies involving Khamzat Chimaev are not uncommon. Dana White wasn't taken aback by the incident, as his past behavior at the UFC 280 press conference had foreshadowed such clashes. Prior to UFC 279, Khamzat had altercations with Nate Diaz, Kevin Holland, and Paulo Costa. The beef between Chimaev and Nurmagomedov occurred during Islam Makhachev's post-fight speech after he won the vacant title against Charles Oliveira at UFC 280. Tyson Fury has expressed some disappointment regarding Mike Tyson's role as a coach for Francis Ngannou. Fury, the current WBC heavyweight champion, is scheduled to engage in a 10-round boxing match against former UFC heavyweight champion Ngannou on October 28 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. While this is a fully professional boxing bout, Fury's WBC heavyweight title will not be up for grabs. Given his namesake and connection to the boxing legend, Fury had hoped to have Mike Tyson in his corner rather than coaching Ngannou. He expressed his feelings in a recent interview with Sky Sports News.
When you look over to the corner and you see the man who you were named after trading your opponent.
I think it's sad, actually, that the man I'm named after, a legend, has to go against me for one and then come out as a loser for two, having lost when he fought the man he was named after. I think it's sad. I think he should be in my corner, not the losing corner. But you know, business is business, and I understand it's strictly business. And no matter what he teaches this fella, no matter how much boxing training he does or whatever, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face, and I'm not sure who said that. But I know that's true. They've all got plans until they get smacked in the mouth.
UFC CEO Dana White shared the new plans for the merge between UFC and WWE.
Are you going to work alongside WWE? Are you going to be promoting WWE shows on UFC?
Well, our teams are going to, work together. Basically, what Ari brings to the table for the WWE is he'll, more sponsorship, licensing, new television contracts, and the synergies between us and WWE. There's some stuff with production that we can do to save costs for them and make this thing incredibly successful.
Will you see any crossover between UFC stars going to WWE or UFC?
Well, we have. I mean, we have in the past. Not unless it fits, or they, like Ronda Rousey. She always wanted to wrestle in the WWE, so she did. She was good enough to do it. Brock Lesnar wanted to fight in the UFC. He did because he was good enough to do it. those will be the scenarios.
So is this a good thing for UFC fighters, where now they have the easier transition, where they have that escape, they want to leave WFC?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, and they probably get great tickets to the WWE. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not a bad thing.
5 days ago, DAZN Boxing released an official face-off between Logan Paul and Dillon Denis. And as everyone would have guessed, they dumped a lot of trash on each other. However, there was a moment that brought up a lot of attention from the fans.
Oh yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I just want to fight you, bro. That's the only reason I'm not posting all this shit. I want to
I know
fight
that
you.
your life's gone downhill ever since you got kicked out of Marcelo's gym.
Stop.
I get it.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I get it.
You know a little bit.
Turned to alcohol, try to drown everything out.
Yeah.
Your
I
dad
thought you wanted to do
passed
it.
away.
Yeah, he
lost 2
did.
friends.
Talk about that and see what happens.
I am.
You
Trying to
say
drown
you're trying to say
everything
you're not a
out.
scumbag and you're going to talk about my dad passing?
I empathize with you, Dylan.
Okay.
Because I understand that Twitter right now for you is like a group therapy session.
Yeah.
Because for the first time in a while, you're getting a sense of validation that you have not gotten.
I always...
Okay, and I understand that. And so if that fills the empty voids in your heart, I empathize with you.
What do you think? Did Logan Paul touch the subject that he should have been touching? Or bringing up the father who passed away is not crossing the line? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. UFC released Derek Brunson. He has not only been withdrawn from the fight against Roman Dolidze at UFC 295, but has also been confirmed to be no longer a part of the UFC roster. Brunson currently holds the 8th spot in the middleweight rankings and has been a prominent contender for nearly a decade. While his release has been confirmed, the reasons for his removal from both the fight and the UFC roster remain unclear. Brunson's initially slated opponent extended well wishes on social media before inviting Robert Whittaker or Jared Cannonier to step up and face him. At 39 years old, Brunson boasts a career record of 23 wins and 9 losses, with victories over notable figures spanning various eras in the sport, including Darren Till, Kevin Holland, Uriah Hall, Lyoto Machida, and Chris Laban. After an impressive 5-fight winning streak from 2019 to 2021, Brunson suffered consecutive losses in his last 2 bouts against fellow title contenders Jared Cannonier and Dricius du Plessis. Interestingly, shortly after his release, Brunson called out Jake Paul in a bid to secure a lucrative bout with the popular boxer. He also shared an old screenshot from 2021, wherein Paul had asked Dana White to release Brunson and grant him permission to make some real money. It's quite surprising to think back to all those years ago when Daniel Cormier inadvertently kickstarted an MMA revolution. While he's primarily recognized for his past UFC light heavyweight and heavyweight championships, or these days for his role in the UFC commentary booth, there's another aspect that resonates deeply with MMA enthusiasts: his legendary application of the towel trick. Daniel's legacy is continuing to this day. During the weigh-ins for the upcoming Karate Combat event, the beloved middleweight fighter, Smile Sam Alvey, initially failed to make weight and requested a towel to shed his clothing and make the required weight. It wasn't just about meeting the weight limit, but also having something to maintain his balance. Dricius du Plessis acknowledges that he might have stirred some controversy within the UFC, though he's uncertain about the reasons behind it. Back in July, du Plessis solidified his position as the undisputed top middleweight contender with a commanding second-round victory over Robert Whittaker at UFC 290. However, the pace of life in the UFC's title picture is swift, and when du Plessis couldn't meet the promotion's 8-week turnaround time frame to face Israel Adesanya, the title opportunity was granted to Sean Strickland instead. Strickland went on to deliver one of the most remarkable upsets in recent memory, dominating Adesanya and seizing the middleweight championship at UFC 293 over the past weekend. In the post-fight interview, UFC CEO Dana White was clearly leaning towards the possibility of an immediate rematch between Strickland and Adesanya, while subtly implying that du Plessis may have forfeited his right to a title shot.
I know this is a Tuesday question, but do you sort of think, well, let's just book it again because Israel looks so off? Or do you just sort of see how the division plays out and leave Israel on the side for a moment?
No, I think you do the rematch, absolutely. I mean, the rematch is interesting.
Du Plessis reacted to that in his recent interview with Ariel Helwani.
Yeah, I would think that is probably the worst option. I think that's, a rematch against Pereira was totally justified. He was winning a fight. He was on how many years he was champion. He was chasing GOAT status. 100% justified. But right now he's 3-2 his last 5, and that's out of fight. This was his first defense as champion, becoming a 2-time champion. So are we giving everybody a exit rematch if they lose their belt on their first try to defend it. Not fair. And if he was winning the fight like he was winning with the Pereira fight, the whole fight, and then got clipped at the end, a rematch may be justified. But if you got dominated for 5 rounds, that's not justifiable to get. The UFC, they've been talking about how everybody knew the problem in the middleweight division. Easy has run through the whole division. Some people twice. Now they have the opportunity. The division is open. You gave him the benefit of the doubt. You gave him his get out of jail card by giving him a rematch against Pereira. You don't get 2 of those. They're a little bit pissed off because I turned down the fight, which is totally unjustified, I think. But at the end of the day, it's not my decision to make. Did it hurt the stock? Not at all. People have been talking about me this whole time after that fight.
The win over Robert Whittaker on July 8th. When you left the cage that night, did you feel in your heart your next fight would be for the middleweight title? Had someone told you that? Did someone say to you, was it in writing? Like, did you feel like there's nothing I need to do at this point because I just beat Robert Whittaker? What were you thinking as you left the cage that night?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did a face-off.
Right.
The champion got in there. So it was set in stone. I am the #1 contender in the world. So for me, it was basically set in stone. For me, even the backstage, we already spoke about it, going to Australia, what the arrangements were going to be, and with the powers at be, and my commitment to take fights. When the UFC called and said we want to do Whittaker fight, who would take that fight? Everybody said how dumb I was to take that fight. Because the easy fight could have been made. And I said, I'm not here to be smart, I'm here to fight.
What do you think? Should Dricius du Plessis be the next title contender? Or we should see an immediate rematch between Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya? We are keeping the tradition alive. Here are the best 3 knockouts of last week. Polish power is a real thing. Anna Shevchenko destroying Marketa Urbanova with a head kick. While one-shot finishes are impressive, there's a special appreciation for a well-executed combination leading to a knockout. At Ring FC 3 in Seoul, Jun Hwan Lee unleashed a relentless assault on Jun Ho Shin, culminating in a spectacular finish. Evaluating the sequence, I'd credit Lee with an astounding 9-hit combo, beginning with the front kick. Fortunately, the final punch didn't connect with Shin. Lee threw a diverse range of strikes at Shin, and it's truly remarkable how nearly every one of them landed with devastating precision. And the third knockout was against the former UFC fighter, Diego Brandao. Diego Brandao has been steadily navigating his way through the MMA circuit since his departure from the UFC 7 years ago, making appearances in several notable promotions. The winner of the Ultimate Fighter 14 had managed to secure a 3-fight winning streak until he faced Karshiga Dotbek at an Alash Pride event in Astana, Kazakhstan. During that encounter, Dotbek delivered his 11th knockout victory out of 13 professional wins, marking Brandao's 49th pro fight. It's unclear whether he's aiming for a tidy 5-0, but one can only hope he considers stepping away from the sport before sustaining excessive damage. In a preceding bout, Rustam Kudebergenov clinched the lightweight championship with a devastating right hand that caught Nizamuddin Ramazanov at a particularly vulnerable moment. Alexa Grasso emerged from Noche UFC on Saturday still holding the women's flyweight championship, but her victory wasn't secured through a display of superiority over Valentina Shevchenko. Grasso retained her title by default following a closely contested rematch with Shevchenko at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, which ultimately concluded in a split draw. Both fighters believed they deserved the win in what was a tightly contested bout. What makes this fight even more controversial is the judges' decision. Both fighters had their moments throughout the match. It was Alexa Grasso who closed out the fight with a strong takedown and a late submission attempt in the 5th round. Despite the closely contested nature of the bout, the fight ultimately concluded as a split draw, with judges Mike Bell, Sal D'Amato, and Junichiro Kamiho scoring at 47-47, 47-48, and 48-47, respectively. However, a rather surprising revelation came to light when the scorecards were made public. Mike Bell scored the 5th round of the fight 10-8, while the other 2 judges scored the round 10-9 in favor of Alexa Grasso. This discrepancy in scoring for the final round proved to be the decisive factor in the fight, as Valentina Shevchenko would have emerged victorious if not for the 10-8 round score. The possibility of a trilogy fight between Grasso and Shevchenko is being considered after Noche UFC. Nonetheless, numerous other contenders, such as Aaron Blanchfield or Manon Fiorot, have earned their chance to vie for the championship as well. What do you think? Should we see the trilogy of their fight, or is it time to move on? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. That was it for today. Thank you for staying till the end, and we hope this video provided some informative value, and if it did, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you do not want to miss our weekly recap of the fighting world. Until next time, take care.